Unit 6, Day 2, Bell Ringer. Number 1, a statue garden is filled with statues of various animals. The statue of a dog weighs approximately 3 times 10 to the negative 1 tons. A statue of a bird weighs 9 times 10 to 10 square tons. Based on this information, the number of tons of the statue of the bird is how many times the number of tons of the statue of the dog. Enter your answer in standard form on the box. How many times more? So this is a division problem. So we have 9 times 10 to the second divided by 3 times 10 to the negative 1. So there's 2 ways you can do this, or 2 ways. So this way we can do 9 divided by 3 equals 3. And then when we subtract our exponents, remember, we subtract our exponents when we're dividing. Which will give us 2 minus negative 1, which will do 2 plus 1 equals 3 times 10 to the third, which is 3,000. Or you could have put it into, go ahead and figure out what is 9 times 10 square. That's 900 divided by 3 times 10 raised to the negative 1 power, which is 0.3. So 900 divided by 0.3 gives me 3,000. You could have solved it that way too. Before you could do it, or you could just type it in your calculator like this, and you already got your answer too. Which expression is equivalent to 11 negative 3 times 11 to the 0 power times 1 to the 4th power, all raised to the 3rd power? So if we remember my rules here, what I want to do first is my exponents in the parentheses. So when our bases are the same, we add our exponents. So 0 plus 4 equals 11 to the 4th, and it's going to be raised to the 3rd of 11 to negative 3 times 11 to the 4th times 3. Power over power, we multiply. So we have 11 negative 3 times 11 raised to the 12th power. We will keep our base, add our exponents because we're multiplying last base. So negative 3 plus 12 equals 11 to the 9th, which my answer is going to be C. Reflections. A reflection is a transformation that flips a figure over a line. This line is called the line of reflection. I know on your PowerPoint it's hard to see this, okay? You'll need to write in this right here. Remember, it's the same, but it is backwards. It's like looking into a mirror. Graph the point A3, then graph its image after it's reflected of the x-axis, and name the coordinates of A prime. So I'm going to label my A 3, 2. I'm going to use a different color here. And I'm reflected over the x-axis. So I'm going to color my x-axis a different color, so we know. Now notice that my A point is 2 above my x-axis, so my A prime is going to be 2 below my a-axis, or my x-axis, A prime. My coordinates from A prime will be 3, negative 2. Reflection across the x-axis. The x value stays the same and the y value changes the sign. So just like here, for A, it was 3, 2. When I reflected across the x-axis, my x stays the same and my y went from a positive to a negative. Graph the point D2, negative 2, 1. So negative 2, 1, here is D. Then graph its image as it reflected over the y-axis. So this time, instead of the I'm going to go on the y-axis, okay? My point D is 1, 2 away from the y-axis, so my D prime is going to be 2 on the other side. So my coordinates for D prime would be 2, 1. So when we reflect across the y-axis, the y value stay the same, and the x value changes your sign. So here, it was -2, 1. My x went from a negative to a positive. My y stays the same. Reflect the image across the x-axis. List all new coordinates. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to list all my coordinates for my triangle. Okay, so 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got 3, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1. And I'm reflecting everything across the x-axis. Okay, so this is my x-axis. So I'm just going to start with my top point first. And I see that my top point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above the x-axis. So it's going to be 5 below the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And its new point is 3, -5. My x value stays the same. My y value becomes a negative. Start here. 1 above, 1 below, 1, -1. 1 above, so we'll go 1 below, 5, -1. So my x's stayed the same. My y switched from positive to negative. Reflect the image across the y-axis. List all new coordinates. Okay? So my y-axis here. I'm going to list my coordinates. We have -4, 1, -2, 1, -1, -5, -5, -1, -5. When we reflect across the y-axis, my axis changes from a positive. So in this case, it'll go from a negative to a positive. They change their sign, but my y stays the same. Okay, so here, this one is 1, 2 away. So it's going to be 1, 2 on this side. So it's going to be +2, -1. +4, -1. +1, -5. +5, -5. Reflect triangle ABC across the line y equals 1. What are your coordinates for triangle A prime, B prime, and C prime? So in this case, I'm not reflecting across the axis. I'm reflecting over y equals 1. So I'm going to find my 1 on my y-axis, and I'm going to draw a line. We're reflecting across this point now. Okay? So I'm going to start at my B. My B is 1 above the y of my line of reflection. So it's going to be 1 below my line of reflection. So this is going to be B prime. Change color so you can see a little bit more. So B prime. A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above. So it'll be 5 below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then C is 2 above my line of reflection. So it'll be 2 below my line of reflection. So A prime is -3, -4. B prime is -6, 0. And C prime is 2, -1. Reflect parallelogram EFGH across the line x equals -1. What are the coordinates for parallelogram E prime, F prime, G prime, and H prime? So x equals -1. So I'm going to go to -1 here. And my line of reflection is going to be vertical here. Okay. The last one, it was horizontal. This one's going to be vertical. So I'm going to look at each point. I'm going to look from my line of reflection. I'm going to count. So I'm going to look at E, and E is 1, 2, 3 from the line of reflection. So it would be 1, 2, 3 on the other side. So E prime. F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'll be 6 on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna make sure I count that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I counted. I went too far over on my E prime. E should be 3, and I went 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is F prime. From G, 2 from the line of reflection. 1, 2. G prime. H is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now write my new points. So E prime is -4, -1. F prime is -7, -1. G prime, -3, -5. And H prime is -6, -5. Remember, when we're doing from a line of reflection that is not on the axis, we need to count our points away from the line of reflection. When it's on the line, the x-axis, the y-axis, we can just flip our signs that way. I'm going to plot M at 1, 3, N at 3, 5, O at 5, 3, and P at 3, 1. Okay. And it's going to be reflected of the y equals 0, which is right here. So y equals 0, which is going to be our x-axis. So it's actually going to be of our x-axis. Okay, y equals 0. And also, while we know it's the x-axis, because y equals 0, y equals any number is going to be horizontal. Okay, so it's going to be over the y-axis. So what I'm going to do is just count each of my points. So my M is 1, 2, 3 above. So it'll be 1, 2, 3 below. So M prime. P is 1 above, so it'll be 1 below. N is 5 above. Be 5 below. Oop. Should be N. And O is 3 above. So O prime will be 3 below. connected. And so we'll name the coordinates. So M prime would be 1, -3, because if it's going across the x-axis, we can change the sign of our y, keep our x, and change the sign of our y. So N prime will be 3, -5. O prime 5, -3, and P prime will be 3, -1. Number 4, pentagon ABCDE has vertices A, -5, 3, 3, B, A, B, -3, 5, C, -1, 3, D, -2, 0, and E, -4, 0. Pentagon. Graph pentagon ABCDE in its image after it's reflected across the line, over the line x equals 1. So we know that all x equals a constant is going to be a vertical line. Okay, so my line's going to be x equals -1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start counting points. So A would be I'm going to count from the line of reflection. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 above the line of reflection. So it'll be 4 below. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is A prime. And it's located at, from the origin here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -5, -5. So we're going to look for B prime next. So B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 above the line of reflection. So it'll be 6 below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is B prime. My origin, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. So -3. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7. C prime is 1, 2, 3, 4. But the line of reflection, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 below. So -1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, -5. D prime is 1 above the line of reflection, be 1 below. -2, -2. And then E prime, E is 1 above, so it'll be 1 below. It'll be at 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, -2. Use the graph at the right, match each point with this image after reflection over the given axis. So A over to the y-axis. So remember, this is my x-axis and my y-axis. So for my y-axis here, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 away from my y-axis. D is 4 away from my y-axis. So D. B in x-axis. It's my x-axis here. B is 1 above. G is also 1 above. So G. H against the y-axis. H is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. 1, 2, 3, 4. E is 4 away from the y-axis. F in the y-axis is 1, 2. And G is also 1, 2 from the y-axis. E in the x-axis. E is 1, 2 away from the x-axis. D is 1, 2 away. Then C in the x-axis is 1 from the x-axis, and F is also 1 away from the x-axis. Graph the vertices J, 4, 3. So 4, 3, K, 7, 1, L, 3, negative 3, okay. We're going to reflect over the line x equals 2. So x equals 2. Okay, now we're doing my line of reflection. Now I'm going to draw my point. So J is 2 for my line of reflection, so it'll be 2 for my line of reflection, so it'll be here. Okay, and then K is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then L is 1. Okay, it says now my direction says that we need to translate triangle J prime, K prime, L prime to the left 3 units and down 4 units. So that means I need to move my X over 3 units and move it down 4 units. Okay, so I'm just going to start with K since it's right here. We'll go to the left 3, 1, 2, 3, and then down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. J over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. L, 1, 2, 3, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So reflected, and then we translated our image.